We left the word in Rashi. It says, Hunar is b'nei Bilo, is b'nei Zilpa. We're on Pasuk Beis in Rashi. So, factually, the children of Bilo and Zilpa, they are the children of the maidservants, of the concubines. Klomar Roga Leitzel b'nei Bilo. Why did he frequent the b'nei Bilo more than his other brothers? He show you Echov Mvaznos and Makarbon, because they were Mvaza them, and he'd be Makar of them. Which is difficult. I mean, we're not talking about ordinary people here. Yosef at this time was 17 years old. His brothers were older than they were. Right? His brothers were older, so what? Could you imagine a person in his 20s being embarrassing a person? Because what? Why were they embarrassing him? Because they didn't have the same status as they were the children of the matriarchs, and they were the children of the concubines. Therefore what? What is mevazeh? It can't mean they were mevazeh. They actually embarrassed them. Factually, they did have a different status. Even though they're all the children of Yaakov, but being the child of one of the Emos is not the same as being the child of one of the Pelakshim. It's a different status. So because they were treated to a lesser degree, that's why he's makar of them. That they shouldn't take it badly. Because we don't find that the Shvatim are faulted. Yosef is faulted for a tail-bearing to his father. It's considered Lashon Hara, what have you done? But we don't find the brothers are faulted for the way they dealt with the Bnei Bil and Bnei Zilpa. We don't find that. Whatever. As Divosim Ro, Kol Rosha Yero Be'echov Bnei Leah. Any failing that he saw in his brothers, the sons of Leah, Hoyamaglov, if he would share with his father, She'ochel Evim Min Achai. Again, this was all a misunderstanding. He said they ate a limb off a living animal. Mizalzim Bnei Shvochas L'Kros Navodim. Okay, Mizalzim. Chashudim Ala Rayos. Nushloshim Loko. And because he had no right to say this, he was punished in every one of the three. Alev Mechai Vishto Shirizin B'Mechiroso. It says they slaughtered a goat, they dipped his coat in the blood. Lo Chlu Chai Valdibo Shesiper Aleim Shkorin Lachem Avodim Levedibkar Yosef Valarai Shesiper Aleim Batisa Eishes Adonav. What's the willis? What's the willis? Now, firstly, maybe you should consult with them. He passed judgment. You know, there's a mitzvah of B'tzedek Tishra Misechel. You have to give your fellow the benefit of the doubt. Maybe ask him what's going on. Rather than hastily going to your father and reporting, ask them what they're doing. Because factually, the Evim and Achai was what was Ben Pekur. He didn't know it was a Ben Pekur. Meaning, we had this, right? If you slaughter the mother and you find a calf inside, the calf is considered slaughtered halachically, so it's not even Mechai. But he didn't know that, but he should report it to his father. No, even Mechai is not permitted. That was his misjudgment. That was his misjudgment. No. You have to go and you have to see. They're not receptive is one thing. That has nothing to do with Musar. Find out what the facts are. He didn't have the facts right. Yosef misjudged the facts. You could ask another question. There's a mitzvah, Havidonis Kolodim Kavschus. If you see a situation and it's a 50-50 call, you have an obligation to give your fellow the benefit of the doubt. Correct? What about if it's not 50-50, it's more than majority to the negative? So if he's a Yorei Shamayim, you still have an obligation to give him the benefit of the doubt. Right? If he's a person who fears Hashem. If a middle-road person, you have a right to judge him negatively. Okay? What about pre-Sinai? Pre-Sinai, is there an obligation to give a person the benefit of the doubt? Yosef did the obligation. So evidently he did. not on an obligatory level, but in terms of the way they should have conducted themselves, he should have given their brothers. And besides, Lashon Hara, is there prohibition of Lashon Hara on a non-Jew? A non-Jew is permitted to speak Lashon Hara. It's only Jews not permitted to speak. Right? So what he said, the answer is, but still, it's still inappropriate. We still have a concept of Mida Keneged Mida. I mean, maybe you'd say a non-Jew. A non-Jew does something, and he's not in violation. But there is a principle. Hashem deals with everybody measure for measure. The way you deal with others, that's why Hashem will deal with you. So the non-Jew, you have no right, you have no obligation to be sensitive to your fellow Gentile. But if you're not sensitive to your fellow Gentile, Hashem will not be sensitive to you. Not as punishment. It's a principle of Mida Keneged measure for measure. The way you treat others, the way you behave, that's the way God deals with you. Same idea. But it's interesting, because he says, "You choshtan al harayos." It says that's the reason why Tisa Ishes Adonov. Now, why did she notice it? What does it say over there? Why did she notice him? Ernie, you're the expert. Detroit Day School. What does it say? Why did she notice him all of a sudden? Because when he took on a position of power, he started to beautify himself. So Hashem says, your father is grieving over you, and you're busy with perfecting your beauty. I will sick the bear on you. That's all of a sudden, that's why she noticed him. It seems to be, right? The answer is he would have been punished, but the question is why particularly in that particular area of punishment? That's the question. Why that area of punishment? Could have been punished other ways. Could have been thrown back. He could have been just thrown into the dungeon, right? For some other reason. Not that he had to, his mistress had to all of a sudden notice him, and she tried to seduce him. That's exactly what I'm saying. What color? No. They wouldn't have had, you had to find a fault in him. The reason why that manifested itself then, he would have been punished. But why did it manifest itself at that moment, in that? He was beautifying himself. So he was punished. So like he's able to kill two birds with one stone over here. So how are we going to punish him? That his downfall will come through this. That's how it comes about. If he would have failed, it would have been bad news if he would have failed. Right? Gemara says. But I understand that. But still. But even though he succeeded in the test, but still, well, what happened to him as a result of that? Right? She slandered him. He was thrown into prison as a result of that. So how did it come about? How was he punished? Through that. But it comes out very interesting. Now, why did Yosef not have 12 tribes? Yosef was meant to have 12 children. He lost 10 of them. Right? Whatever it is. The Gemara says he lost 10 droplets of semen were lost as a result of being involved with Eshes Potiphar. He never committed adultery with her, but because he was so overwhelmingly aroused, he lost 10 droplets of semen. Each droplet he lost a tribe, a son, a child. So it comes out if he wouldn't have reported to the father, he would have had Yud Bei Shvatim, because every one of his children are considered a Shevet. No. Maybe there wouldn't have been. Maybe there would have been more tribes. What is a Nevuah? Nevuah is what's meant to be. But if this maybe something else would have been, should have been meant to be. There were 13. There were 13 tribes anyway. There were 13. What do you mean? How do you count it? You count the 13. 1 through 13 is 1 through 13. So it has to do with, what's his name? It has to do with how many, the land was divided among 12 tribes. Levi had no portion of the land. But in totality, with 13 tribes. Okay. If he had two, for Menashe tribes, is he an Av? He's not an Av. He's not an Av, even though he has two. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make. we would see him like an extension of Yaakov. Extension of Yaakov. That's the way I learned. Yosef, you think the brothers were fools. His brothers were very, more than smart. Yosef, when they saw Yosef, how did they evaluate him? What was his being? His being was 12. Yosef's presence was the equivalent of their father. So when he had the dreams, and he says he wants to destroy us, right, by discrediting us in the eyes of our father, they believed he wanted to have them killed. But they have to be 12 tribes. The answer is, but the sense of Yosef, he's 12. See, if he's 12, if he's not 12, so it's a bunch of immaturity. It's immaturity, it's nonsense. But since they had a sense of him that he is 12, because at that time he was 12, then they said, this is the real thing. Since we know there's going to be 12, and not more than 12, so what's this all about? Evidently he wants them to kill us, destroy us. Therefore, it's a question of what? Of self-defense. Therefore, we're going to kill him, or we're going to sell him to slavery. Just get rid of him. Right? That's the whole idea. Let's see the morale.